Hey guys, it's Abby from Autumn of Pellinor, and today I'm going to be doing the last round of my TBR tour, and this is the books I've been gifted. There are far too many books on this section of the tour. I really need to read these. If you haven't watched the rest of them, I think the cards are up there, and I have done a TBR tour for the books that I've bought myself full price, the books that I've bought at a discounted price, and the books that I bought second hand, just to kind of document all of the books that I haven't read, that I really need to read. It's a problem. So I have a lot more books here than I really should do, if you couldn't guess, and I'm gonna go through them all. I've kind of sectioned them off kind of roughly by who they're from. So I'm gonna start with, Yes, I'm gonna start with the ones from the publishers, is what I'm calling this category. So the first one already breaks that rule, but like, shut up. So we have the RSPB Handbook of British Birds. I got this for signing up to the RSPB. I no longer pay the prescription. That's not it. Subscription. I no longer pay for it, but I do intend to go back to it at some point in the future. The reason why I haven't read this is because it is literally like you're meant to go bird spotting with this, so one day. Then we are on to actual books from publishers. So I don't get sent books, really. There's one book here that I've been sent from an author, and I don't get sent books from publishers. I'm a tiny booktube channel. What are you expecting? But I did go to the NYA Lit Fest in 2018, 2017, a long time ago now. It was the first one. I just swallowed some of my lipstick. Ugh. And so I picked up a couple arcs there, and now I've read most of the arcs, but there are still two that I haven't read from 2017. Shut up. That is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This came out in the UK on the 5th of April, don't know if I remember April, yes, the 5th of April 2018. It came out in the US even earlier, so I haven't read it. And Truth Sister by Phil Gilvin. I was sent Aaru, Hulls of Hell by the author David Meredith. I read his first book, I think it was just Aaru, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first book, which is why he ended up sending me the second one, and I really do intend to get to this because the first one was quite fun. So then I won a competition from Fairy Loot, I do believe. I made a little video about it, which is embarrassing, but I'll link it. It's awful. It's from the very beginning. It's not good. There we go. And it's the Carve the Mark duology, which is Carve the Mark and The Fates Divided by Veronica Roth. It showed two hardbacks in the photo of the giveaway, and then everyone got a paperback and a hardback, so sneaky. But yes, so at least they are of similar sizes. I put them off for a while because I'd heard bad things, but about rep, I think racism was the main one, but then I've also heard recently from quite a lot of black booktubers that they didn't have a problem with the racism. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna see how I feel about it, and then go and find more black opinions on the racism. So those are all from the publisher books. Now we have books that are gifted by people I don't know. I used to live in Italy when I was a wee bambino, and we got gifted some books about Pompeii when I was very young, and I recently found them again in the garage and pulled them out so I could actually read them. There's only two here now because I have read some of them, but the first one is Pompeii Nowadays and 2,000 Years Ago, and the second one is just Pompeii by Salvador Nappo. The first one does not state an author, it just says it's in English. So yes, I used to live in this region. I lived in the Napoli region near Salento, and I adore Vesuvius. It's where I did my master's thesis. I went to Mount Vesuvio to do my research, and of course I want to read more about it. And then lastly, for obscure people gifting me things, is a Holy Bible, which was gifted to me by my... oh god, I have to explain now. It was gifted to me by one of my schools when I left it, when we finished and moved on to the next school. It was at the time called a first school, which was year 1 to 4 for British people, which is... I mean, it's got a nursery, so like from when you start school at 3, 4 till you're about 9, I think. It's now a primary school, because my mum works there. But yes, they gave me this when I left, and it says presented too. And yeah, it's an illustrated Bible that I haven't read because I'm not a Christian. Sorry. Now, on to the presents from people rather than bigger entities. So, the first ones are from my lovely mother. I mean, technically no, I was going to say technically they're from my dad. No, he's getting a separate category. So my mum has, technically, these top ones that my mum's actually gifted me are technically from them both. We all know they're from my mother. So the first two are these two Doctor Who books. There were 3 in the box set, I've read one of them, and that is Borrowed Time by Naomi A. Alderman and Paradox Lost by George Mann. So I should end up reading these pretty quickly if I do finally just sit down and get through them. They were a gift at Christmas a few years ago. When I was at Portsmouth doing my postgrad, my mum set down Eve of Man by Giovanna Tom Fletcher in a little shoebox full of goodies and treats, and I just never got around to reading it. This is absolutely gorgeous and I really hope I enjoy it. And the last one from my mother / parents is Cilka's Journey by Heather Morris. So, okay, now I have to explain this as well. Certain areas of Germany, not all areas, but certain areas of Germany have a tradition where at Christmas time you will put a gherkin, what is it called? Pickle, that's what Americans call it, in your Christmas tree. Like a little ornament, or you can put an actual pickle, I guess. And you put this little gherkin in the Christmas tree and the kids have to find it, and if you find it you get a gift. Now, at Christmas time I am the only kid around, so basically they buy me a little present and then send me off to find this gherkin. And this was the present that I got this Christmas. Yes, I was 23. Yes, I found the gherkin. We lived in Germany as well for a time. We lived in Heidelberg for 2 years and we lived in Münster for 2 years, and so that is where that tradition has come from. But yes, this is the second book in the Tattooist of Auschwitz duology. I believe it's just a duology. They are fictionalised tales from real life, and I read the first one, The Tattooist of Auschwitz, as an arc from NetGalley and cried and really enjoyed it. And so I've been wanting to read Cilka's Journey for a long time now, and my parents got very panicky when I almost bought it myself, and it didn't click, and then I found the gherkin. I was like, oh, it's the gherkin book. So, gherkin book. What is my family? Then, the reason that these are a little weirder, these are definitely from my mother and no one else. These two, which is Wormwood by G.P. Taylor and Fire Song by William Nicholson, were bought when I was a kid, and so they weren't really a gift. I mean, they obviously were a gift, otherwise I wouldn't be including them here. I didn't buy them, I didn't pay for them, but I was at an age where my mother was still buying my books. I was never someone who got lots of pocket money, and I was never someone who, you know, would go to my parents and say, I want to get some books, can I have £10? We would go out shopping and we would go in the bookshops and I'd be like, she'd be like, okay, fine. So these are kind of like what I would have gotten if I'd had pocket money, which is why they're a little weird and in their own weird category. But yes, I've had these for years. Years. This is the third book in a series, so this is the only one I have left now that I haven't read, and I'm mad I didn't read them earlier because I would have loved them. I would have loved them. I still really love them, but I would have adored them. And then this, I don't know why it's been on my like TBR shelves for so long and why I haven't picked it up, but it is. And then the last one from my mum is the complete novels of Jane Austen. So this was going at a book sale at the school that my mum works at for £1, and she knows I like to read and that I have some Jane Austen, and she was like, do you want the binder? I was like, sure, intending to pay her back the £1, and then she wouldn't let me, so le gift. I probably won't read all of the books in here. I do have some of them standalone, in standalone copies, so I'll probably read them separately just because this is a big book to be reading through, but I do have all of the stories now. Then we go on to books from my dad. He technically didn't buy any of these for me, he just bought them, and then when my parents read, they will read a book, they will enjoy a book, and then they get rid of the book. They don't keep it, ever. They've never kept books. The only books my dad has ever kept has been the Game of Thrones books, and that's so I can read them. So yeah, these are just the books that my dad was going to throw away and I saved. Starting with Game of Thrones, we have A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms by George R.R. Martin. I kept this because I do intend on carrying on the Game of Thrones books at some point and will then want to read this, and it seems redundant to get rid of it and then buy it again. Then we have Painting the Sand by Kim Hughes, GC. This is a non-fiction memoir of a man who served out in Iraq, I believe. Afghanistan, not Iraq. I always get those two confused. I still don't remember which one my dad went to. Was it Iraq or Afghanistan? It was Iraq, and he trained for Afghanistan and then wasn't allowed to go and then got really annoyed. That's my dad. So yes, this is... My dad really enjoyed it. Again, enjoyed is a weird word, but it's something that I kind of wanted to learn a bit more about because I cannot get the information out of my dad. And then the last one that I stole from my dad's pile is the Bill Clinton and James Patterson book, The President is Missing. I have read James Patterson's YA books and I've enjoyed them. I've never actually, as far as I can remember, read one of his adult books, and I just thought that this would be a good one to go with. I really enjoy when books have accurate stuff within them to the story, like pertaining to the story that they're telling. So Bill Clinton's tidbits for James Patterson I think will be really interesting. And also my dad loves this author and I really should read one of his books, and my dad's on like book 20 in all of his series, so I can't nick the rest of them. It's really inconvenient. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I'll try that series that you love. No you won't, because we only have book 23. So then we have books that my boyfriend has gifted me. He has gifted me some books, of course. He's gifted me other books, I've just read them. So we have Black Eyed Susans by Julia Herbelin, or is it Julia? Julia Herbelin? I'm pretty sure she's German. And then Dear Amy by Helen Callaghan. So these are both mystery books. I went through a phase where I was reading a lot of mystery. That's kind of died down now, which is why I haven't finished these yet. And then we have The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot. And this... Skloot! And this I've been putting off because it's going to be quite a dense read and quite a heavy read. If you don't know, Henrietta Lacks had she was a black woman in America and she had her cells taken without her consent and they've been used for scientific research across the globe. And she saved probably millions of lives, but her family's had no monetary compensation. This was done completely without consent and it brings up a lot of racial issues. I really want to read this one, but it's going to be heavy and that's kind of why I put it off. It's also by a white author, so I need to have a look into this. But yes, those are the last books from my lovely boyfriend. But his mother has also got me a book. She got me it over Christmas. So she got me this because she knows that I loved, I don't know, Harry Potter. And so she knows who the author is, and it's a very lovely present from my boyfriend's mum. It's a gift from my boyfriend's mother, who I love dearly. So yes, this is an awkward one, but I am still very grateful. And just to make it abundantly clear, if it wasn't already, we don't stand for fucking TERFs. If you're a TERF, if you think that trans women aren't women and trans men aren't men and non-binary people aren't valid, get off my damn channel, okay? I support LGBTQ+, I support racial equality, I support the fact that I have a lot of privilege in this world as a white, cis, straight woman, okay? Bit of a heavy topic to drop in here, but it was appropriate with the lady who shall not be named. Now, my lovely aunt. So my mother's sister is an amazing, wonderful woman and has given me a lot of books. Some of them are ones that... Oh no, wait, I just found one from my dad. No! Oh yeah. Okay. My aunt also read it, that's why it's in this pile. So some of them are ones that she's read, and she also gets rid of most of her books when she's read them. Not as many as my parents, but most of them, so then they come to me if I want to read them, and then some of them she's just bought me because she's lovely. So, the ones that she has read herself: Into the Water by Paula Hawkins, A Stranger in the House by Shari Lapina, Friend Request by Laura Marshall, and The Killer on the Wall by Emma Kavanagh, which is set at Hadrian's Wall, which is where I live. I live just north of Hadrian's Wall and we don't see a lot of fiction set around here, so that's why my dad read this when my aunt gifted it to me, and then I got all confused. As you can tell, my aunt likes to read thrillers. And then we come on to the books that she has gifted me just because I wanted them, because she is lovely. I have read the majority of the ones she's gifted me, but not all of them. So we have two from V.E. Schwab, and the first is This Savage Song, and the second is The Dark Vault, which is the archived and unbound novels in one binder. And then some books that she got me from the work, Vox by Christina Dacher. Now, the last category is friends. My friends are wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I do have a few books from friends that we no longer talk to each other anymore for a variety of reasons. So I'm going to go through those first. That is Wit, Wisdom and Timey-Wimey Stuff, The Quotable Doctor Who by Kevin Scott and Mark Wright. Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth and World Without End. Oh, they're so chunky. And The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. So some of these books have been some of these books have been gifted from bookish friends, and some of them have been gifted from not so bookish real life friends who are just very nice to me. So I'm going to start with my real life friends, and then we'll progress onto the ones from bookish friends, and I'll make sure to link all of their stuff down below. So for my real life friends, one of my best friends from high school gifted me The Witchfinder's Sister by Beth Underdown. Thank you, Nicola. Not that she's ever going to watch it, and I'm sorry for still not having read it. Then one of my mates gave me Three Sisters, Three Queens by Philippa Gregory. Thank you, Kane. And technically these next two were gifted to me by Kane and another friend, but we all know that it was Georgia who got them, Kane. We know. So Georgia gifted me, well actually she gifted me this after she read it, the Book of Mirrors by E.O. Chirivici, and then she gifted me The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. Technically also from Kane, so thank you both. And then we have my bookish friends. Charlotte from @CharlottesWear on Twitter gifted me Other Words for Smoke by Sarah Maria Griffin. She ended up with 2 copies because the publishers sent her a finished one, and so was so lovely in sending me this. Her Twitter is linked down below. Alex from Alex Black Reads gifted me The Unseen World by Liz Moore for Christmas a couple of years ago, I think now. I want to read it soon, I promise. Again, Alex's channel is linked down below. The wonderful Carrie from Caring for Books gifted me Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. This is going to be read many moons from now. We both know. Okay, we both know. This is going to take me a long time to get through. The writing is so small. But at the same time, it's going to be so interesting, and I'm so grateful. Thank you, Carrie. And last but never least, never ever least, Caitlyn from Mad Cheshire Rabbit wrote a book. It's called Samuel Noack. It is a fiction work about the Great War, and I am so excited to read it, and she sent me a copy for free. So this could have come under the sent via authors and publishers, but she's my friend, so it's in this one. Thank you, Caitlyn. I am really excited to read it. I am 8 pages in. Shut up, I was 8 pages in the last time I mentioned the book. I'll be more pages in by the time I publish it. So those are, I've got to try and hold them. Oh my god. Those are all of the books on this stage of the TBR tour, which is the gifted books. This should be the last episode of the TBR tour because it has encompassed everything now. I went through all of the different books. Some of them didn't quite fit in certain categories, but I managed to make it work, and I've bought more books since I started this that would have fit into these categories. I'm looking at one of them now. I actually bought some books full price using a voucher. So yes, the TBR tour is meant to hold me accountable, and then I think I'm just going to have to do a haul. But I can't do the haul yet because not all of the books that I ordered have arrived in my postbox. How dare they? So yes, these are the ridiculous number of books that my amazing family and friends and loved ones have gifted me. Thank you so much to all of you for all of the books that you've ever given me, especially my parents, who will never watch this, but my parents who have gifted me the vast majority of books on my bookshelves from when I was a kid. They mean a lot to me. They are a key part of who I am. So yeah, if you have a bookworm in your life and you have the spare money, gift them books because it will mean the world. Especially if they're younger. So yes, thank you so much for watching, guys. I will have linked in the description and in the bar and everything all of the other TBR tour videos in case you want to see them and hold me accountable for all of the books I have not read. Because those ones I bought and I haven't read. And then these ones other people have bought and I haven't read. So it doesn't seem to make a damn difference who buys the books, I just don't read them. And yet I call myself a book lover. Again, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!